As car enthusiasts, we all want some fun every now and then, and whether that means burnouts, spins, or just going on a track day, or maybe climbing a mountain in some kind of off-road style, I have come up with a selection of 5 winter vehicles you can purchase on the cheap and have a lot of fun with. Hope you enjoyed the video. Kicking things off with the first car, I've gone for the Fiat Panda, the very well known and loved Fiat Panda throughout the UK. However, this time it's not just any Fiat Panda, so it's probably one you wouldn't expect. It's the Fiat Panda 4x4. Now, if you've seen Top Gear or even Car Throttle, they've coveted this car quite a lot and praised it for its off-road capabilities. And this, even though, despite being an 83 horsepower, 102 miles an hour engine with 12.4 seconds to 60, a city car effectively, has really good off-road suspension that a lot of people don't realise when they're looking at Pandas. It's been coveted very well over car reviews, and you can get one of these for around £6,500 to £6,000, £7,000. Now, yes, that is quite a lot, but don't forget they have the older Pandas, which were also 4x4. Now, they're a little bit rarer to find and maybe a little bit more unreliable, being Italian. However, these are well known in James Mayer's eyes for being fantastic city cars, off-roaders, and as you'll see in a minute, how well it steals the snow and winter. It's loaded with a fantastic kit, off-road, and it's probably the only city car in its sector that is a 4x4, so really rare to have something like this as well as a city car, so it's a bit of the best of both worlds. As you can see here, it handles the snow perfectly, however it does have considerably wallowy handling, so if you are looking for a bit of a budgeted version, maybe you could go for the £2,000 mark. As you can see, the Panda has a history of being off-road as shown here in the original, and for me that's just enough to show that it can go pretty much anywhere no matter what the size is. It doesn't have to be a Land Rover, and I had to put the Panda on this list because it's one of my favourites if I had to pick a winter car. At number 2 is a car you should definitely consider if you are looking to have some winter fun and you're a bit younger, because the Subaru Legacy Outback of pretty much any age is amazing. As it's been voted Car of the Year many times, and especially with Top Gear, Car Throttle have always said how and celebrated how great this car is in any model. Now, obviously, the cheaper the better in this case because you'll probably be on a budget for winter fun. Here I found one for just under £3,000, and this was an '08 one, so not too bad at all. But some of the older ones even still really good with their reliability. Now, one thing to note with these is that some Subaru Outbacks, because they're so popular across the world, had issues with overheating, and that is a bit of a problem, but they are really good in most circumstances. Now, I'm assuming that would be in hot countries like Australia, where they're used quite a lot. So maybe the heating problem with the cooling system that they have and coolant leaks is more common. But being a Subaru, it's incredibly reliable, and the engine and interior are just all really solid, and you know it's going to last for ages. Legacy Outbacks are also really popular to modify as well, and I think that's one thing to consider. And for me, it's just a car I'd love to use as a daily, more than anything. Having an estate that can do everything and have fun off-road, especially with Subaru with its rallying heritage, is a great choice. At number 3 is a car you'll probably really appreciate for all your off-road enthusiasts. It is the Toyota Land Cruiser. Now, in fairness, there's 2 here. It's the Amazon as well as the LC4. The Amazon, in particular, from 2002 to 2006, is a bit of a bigger Land Cruiser, and admittedly, road tax wise, it's £600, but with a 200 horsepower engine. Now, these seem to hold their value pretty well, I've found over on Auto Trader. So looking at them, I found some for up to £6,000, maybe £7,000, and that's for one that's 20 years old. Now, they are big and they can do a lot in the winter. They're fantastic for going everywhere, as Land Cruisers are, especially popular in the Middle East. With the MPG and the miles per gallon, these are really popular to be modified as well. So if you're into really modifying and off-roading, this might be the perfect car for you. Here's one I found for just less than £8,000. Now, this was a fair amount of money for something that is quite old at this point. Now, we will go on to the LC4 in a minute because there's almost a few different Land Cruisers that came out in this time. But this one was the big one. This is the daddy, the one that you'd want if you were really into your SUVs. Now, these are still, like I said, very expensive, but they do have quite a lot to go in for it, given that it is a pretty hefty car. You can move a lot with this thing, and the engines are crazy. Now, with these cars as well, you can also consider the LC4. Slightly less money, smaller, under 5,000, sometimes £6,000. Now, these also hold their price with 161 brake horsepower. Now, these ones I prefer less. However, these are more common in the UK just because they're a bit smaller for our roads and they just work quite well. Now, they are very high up and they are very fuel efficient for, well, most part, because it's a Toyota and it has standard running costs, but it's not always that great. Obviously, being a Toyota, it should be reliable. Up next is a car you would definitely expect to be good in the winter or even off-road. It is the Skoda Yeti. Now before you rule out this car entirely, give me a second to explain. Now the Skoda Yeti, with its name alone, should be in theory a good winter car because it's a Yeti. So looking at this initially, you probably wouldn't think much of it, but it's actually a pretty good choice. And if you have an interest in going off-road and you want to camp, this might be a good little vehicle similar to the Panda. Now these are pretty cheap, starting at around £2,000 for the starters. As you can see, you can do this, which, as we all know, Defenders can do it. It's a pretty clever, practical family car, and it's actually almost standard. You know, we have had VRSs in Skodas. A lot of Skodas are good, so before you rule out this Skoda, consider that this is a great car, and the modifications, if you want to, could look like this, which is not bad. And as we know, Skodas are cheap to run, they're long MPG, they're reliable, and they will go for hundreds of thousands of miles. So definitely consider a Skoda Yeti, because it is a car that I think will last you quite a while. And especially with its amount of boot size, you could put a lot in that and get a good roof rack on it as well. These have dropped significantly in price, and since they've been released, I don't think they've been particularly popular. So definitely a good winter choice if you want to do a little bit of exploring. At number 5 is the Dacia Duster. Now, before you rule this car off, let me explain a few things. Similar to the Yeti, it's probably not what you expected to be on this list. And don't forget, this is one of the cheapest cars in the UK that you can buy. Now, yes, they released in 2010, so it's been on the market for 11 years now, and they've updated it over years, but it's still one of the cheapest cars. The reason I put this on the list is because it can have a lot of potential for winter fun. If you want to have winter fun on a budget, this might be your answer, because Dacia Dusters are effectively Renaults underneath, so we know we're going to have a bit of fun with them, and with these, they're actually fairly decent. Even the upgraded models now have some reliability to them. It's just under £3,000 for one of the originals, and if you want to spend a bit more, you'll probably look at about £10,000 for a new one. But still, brand new, you're getting a Dacia Duster that you can do a fair bit to. I think before you underplay these cars, think about the modifications that you could do with this. It is a lot of fun in terms of its off-road ability, and as shown in a minute, I will show you why these are actually quite popular. They've actually been turned into Rally Dakar cars, modded with bull bars, big off-road chunky tyres, light bars, that sort of thing. So there's a lot you can do on a budget, and that means you can go everywhere. Now, obviously, the standard video here probably isn't the best. It's never going to be as good as a Land Rover, but a Dacia Duster will allow you to have a lot of fun, which means you can bang it up, destroy it, and still use it every year and have so much fun off-road. Hey everyone, hope you've enjoyed today's video on some winter fun vehicles and something that you might consider for winter when you want to have a bit of hooning around in some cheap cars and cars that you can have fun off-roading. If you have, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Can't wait to see you all in the next video and what next year brings. I'll see you all then. Thank you for supporting me all in 2020 and 21.